Yeah. You are here working at in Steinsaltz Center?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm the executive director.
Yes.
I work here for the last 10 years. I run everything. Mainly I'm in charge of the financial responsibilities. I'm the manager of all the activities that we have, which mean mainly is the books, but not only. We have also formal education and informal education. We have programs, we have abilities, we deal with the government, we deal with the embassies. We do whatever we can to extend our reach, our information to as many people as we can.
How could you pronounce the difference between what you're doing here at the center and Orthodox Judaism in general?
There is no difference.
There is no difference.
There is no difference.
No?
This is what Judaism is. Judaism is about being light to the nations, being not just light to the nation, but also light to yourself. That's the first stage. Before you're starting to being a light to other people, first of all, you have to take care of yourself. Most of the texts we deal with, actually, the main purpose for them was to reach people, or to reach our own people. Before it's getting to the world, to the entire universe, the first step is for our own people. That's, if you don't know, how can you be? Somebody cannot believe if he doesn't know.
It's just that when you go in the streets of Jerusalem and you approach an Orthodox Jew or whatever,
Ultra-Orthodox Jew, black hat,
they seem not so inviting. They seem sometimes also
hostile.
Yeah.
Well, there's variety of reasons. First of all, I believe a lot of them are afraid. You definitely don't look a regular person, right? You're clearly not your typical local guy here, right? You definitely have certain attributes, the way you dress. It's not the first time I see you, therefore I remember that you always dress in not the average way a person dress here, right? I mean, this is the honest truth. Two, they are really afraid of their community. They like to keep it more segregated, closed up, not being influenced by the outside world. Doesn't work for them too well, because the world is too powerful not to be part of what we see around us. So I think that's part of it. And general, Europeans have less chance than Americans.
Okay.
Americans have more luck with the Ultra-Orthodox than the European. A lot of them still carry old memories. And I'm not even talking about Holocaust. I'm talking about before that.
Yes,
talking about from the Inquisition on. Some people can go back to Roman time. But for us, it's not an issue. I mean, I'm a man of the world. I'm a part of it. We do the best we can, but it's all based on knowledge. We almost do not preach, so to speak, action besides learning and teaching and praying. Well, all spiritual actions. We hardly speak here about religious activities or, making a religious action, because it's not that's emphasis. It's not that we are negating it or denying it. But mainly what we do is spiritual study, spiritual learning, education. The basic line is, I think it's an old famous Jewish line, is that it's better to be a heretic than an ignoramus. If you don't know, you can believe. If you can't believe, there's no value. I mean, what's the purpose of living? Being ignoramus? Life is empty like that. You need to have meaning. The continuously looking and searching and looking again, searching again, looking again for meaning, for purpose. It's very interesting that a lot of people read a book once and then throw it away, right? You read it, done, finish. People that have this trait will have 5 or 6 or 10, whatever the amount of books that they read and constantly reading. And again, finding another meaning, another layer. That is education. Otherwise, it's...
I agree.
Yeah.
Completely. There's one thing we are here for. That is to hear your opinion about the whole concept of the Messiah and what it means to you and so forth.
I look at it as the Messiah, the concept, comes from the anointed one, or the one who was anointed. Referring to a king that was anointed by the prophet, usually, to become the anointed one, the chosen one, so to speak. In the end, if one reads the Bible, which is the source of the concept of Messiah, you find that he's talking about the end of days, or not in a negative way, but as a positive way. We get into the purpose, what the world is stepping on for those thousands of years that the world exists, to move forward to this goal, to this point in time when things are good. The world, as much as I think there is a progress to the notion of civil rights, of respect, of caring about the other person, even other religions, it's one of the most fascinating notions in the last 50 to 100 years, maybe 50, is the notion of where religion stands. Used to be that every religion in the world, some of them still believe that, but every religion in the world believe that is a circle. Their religion is the circle, and there is nothing else. Doesn't matter if we pray for the same God. My God is the true God, and you can go, usually burn in hell. That is the common practice. The world changed. I think most religions today think that we are in a box, and everybody can fit into the box. It might be that I think I'm more central in the box, but everybody can fit into the box. It's a major step. It's a major change in the world where it's heading. The revelation of Mashiach, the revelation of what we call the Messiah, is, for me, it's the end of wars. It's the end of troubles. It's a time when you have tranquility, when you have really solace, both for your soul and your body. And I think that's the reason the prophets, when they talk about the future, when Messiah comes, everything, we have the lamb with the wolf, and the lion with the cup. I'm not sure if it's going to be like this literally, but the idea is a time of tranquility. We get to the purpose of the world. If I want to worship God, presumably that religious people all around the world want to do this, you really have two options how to do this. Or you are devoting all your life for this, and you have nobody bothering you, nobody's disturbing you. But to do that, one have to have two things: no life and no worries. I mean, if I have to wake up in the morning and being responsible for, I'm responsible for about 100 people's salaries, I cannot stay at home and saying I'm learning Torah today, I'm being doing religious devotion today, I don't care about you. I can't work. If I didn't have kids, I have 4, I will maybe think that, the same thing. I can sit all day and learn. But once I get home, then you have to deal with your kids in a good way. You have to walk with them, you have to talk to them, you have to spend time with them. You have a wife, you have to spend time with her. Doesn't work like this. So the idea of a place and a time when things can be done this way, I don't have to worry about the mundane, physical thing, when I can worship my God properly, that's the time of Messiah. That's one side of it, of course. That's the side of, I think, the individual redemption or even the global redemption. Clearly, every religion that have the concept of Messiah, if it's the Mahdi, the Muslims, if it's Christ for the Christians, or Mashiach for the Jews, there's always a part of our victory. We won. Now we have our control of the world. I'm not sure that's the right reading. The real reading is that the world, the entire world, in my opinion, become a better place for God. One place for God.
Unity.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a unity in the sense of what you have in many science fiction books, of one mindset. Everybody is together. This is not, I forgot the name of the author, I think Joe Foyer, maybe Joe something, that talk about the forever war. It was a Vietnam era book. talks about in the end of the day, when they figure out why they're fighting the aliens, because the aliens are thinking all the same. They're basically one entity, divided bodies. We don't believe that. We believe every person has his own soul and own existence. Even when Mashiach comes, I think we're all going to be separate. In my opinion, the Mashiach himself, needs to be a person. Okay. He has to say 3 words, in my opinion, is in Aramaic, but it might be in any language, saying, I'm King Mashiach. And people have to accept him. I'm not sure it will be that easy.
No.
People's mindset is something very hard to convince. And what people think Mashiach is, they really think about, they have this dreamland. They have this, the way they read the Bible is very childish. In reality, it's much more real. Mashiach is talking about a time when you're really not going to sit all day and run, sitting on your couch and have, whatever it is your heart desire. And the purpose is you're going to have time to worship God. Yeah. You're going to have time to study God. That's just the purpose of it. That is the tranquility that we're looking for. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are confusing this with having a lot of money or having a lot of whatever the desire.
Yeah, of course.
It's a confusion.
How do you view Yeshua in all this? When we talk about Messiah?
So there's the official answer, the unofficial answer, the answer I don't want to give. Yeah, I can give you the whole list of it. Look, for us, you have to separate the man, the entity, and the religion. Jews have major issue with Christianity. Again, not this generation. It seems like it's going very good. And as you know, all the racist people say, one of my best friends are Christians. I have very good friends, actually. In the Greek Orthodox Church, I have friends. It's a different concept. The notion of Jews and Christianity is, by definition, negative. Jews, rightfully, not rightfully, most likely rightfully, blame Jesus and go on his representative on earth for killing, massacre, butchering, death, dying, etc., etc. It's very hard to get away from it. As you said, as you started the conversation about talking about the ultra-Orthodox, for a typical ultra-Orthodox man who come from Poland, whose parents were allegedly, they have a whole accountability with the church. So that's the notion of the church. Yeshua, or Jesus, is a man. Again, we can do it. There's a variety of ways to look at it. The best way is to look what Maimonides said. The biggest benefit of the existence of Jesus and Muhammad, in that sense, is that they brought the world closer. They believe in one God. That's a tremendous compliment from a man who was not polite or nice. I mean, he called, I think I remember correctly, he referred to Muhammad as the crazy one. But again, he referred to these 2 individuals, and significantly in the different time, that they really changed the world, make the world a better place to worshiping our God, the one God. Sense of there's no many gods, there's no many dignities. Do I really have any serious feeling about Jesus? No. But, is he significant in our
I think it is in one way, because in my, I was raised a Christian without really being religious. My family wasn't. We were very secular. Yeah. But what I think is that it's like the church fathers created an
figure,
entity Jesus, called Jesus and forgot all about the Jew Yeshua, the rabbi Yeshua.
Right.
And I think that on the other hand, the Jews, when they are not recognizing one of their own rabbis, maybe he's not the Messiah, but I think if he contributed in a positive way.
Again, as I said, the contribution for a positive way is what Maimonides says, is the contribution of the entity, the concept, Christianity as a whole, to bring the redemption or concept of believing God. Individual is a much bigger problem. I can go on probably for X amount of hours saying maybe never exist. I can go on this for as long as you want. Spend a lot of time with when I was 20, dealing with what we call all the theory of argument between Jews and Christians. I can probably quote most Bible quotes back and forth. But again, if our concept comes from how you read the Talmud. Talmud really doesn't deal with Jesus. There's two references. One is reference to the Evangelion, the book, the New Testament, as you call it. That's reference to about 150 years, again, after Jesus' death. The other reference to him is referring to a guy who lived 200 years before, who was a student of a guy named Rabbi Yeshua ben Parchia. That's the only reference really we have, besides the reference that we killed him or not, but that's notion to that. But again, the person we allegedly killed in the text of Talmud is a man that lived 200 years before. And you can't have it both ways. Or we did or we didn't. If we did, that's the guy. If we didn't, it's not the guy. So the notion of our individual rabbi, it was never important for us. That's the most shocking, really, concept here. Is the existence of Moses important to the Jewish people? The answer is yes. But is it undivisible? If Moses didn't exist, wouldn't change our religion? No. We believe in the revelation in Mount Sinai. That will change our religion. If you tell us there's no revelation in Mount Sinai, then we'll have a problem with our religion. But the individuals, they come and go. And we all know, and that's something we learn in basic history, we call History 101. I write my history the way I like to write my history based on the situation I'm at in that moment. There's a variety of ways of reading those texts in the Talmud about Jesus. One, the most easier way to read them is the way I've been taught from a very young age. We wrote whatever we wanted as a consequence to what happened around us. When the Persians, the very famous fight, 3rd century, end of 2nd century, beginning of 3rd century, between the Persians and the rest of the world, basically, the Jews were persecuted by the Persians. If the Persian people that we support the Romans in any way, shape, or form, we'll be killed even more and butchered more than we already been butchered till that moment. So it's very possible we refer to certain things just to say, see, we are good. Is it important? I don't know. For us, in the end of the day, it's what you do today. It's the redemption. If somebody come and say, I am the Messiah, till I don't see it, and it doesn't do what he's supposed to do, there's a list. Again, Maimonides, in his book, the book of Judges, I think, the sub-books of Kings and the wars, refer what Messiah need to do. The main thing is he has to build the temple. He has to bring all the diaspora back to Israel. All these kind of things. It's very clear, or it is, or it isn't. If it's done, he's Messiah. He doesn't do it.
You don't think that all these things could be in a metaphorical way? Well,
that's a problem. But you see, yes, in general, yes, but not this particular Rambam. Maimonides, who was really anti, at least from his book, seemed really anti all the metaphors, everything. When we talk about even doesn't believe, you can read the Guide of Perplex, that is, if you read it inside, it seems that he doesn't believe in angels. It's very obvious there. It seems like everything is very... When he referred to the prophecies of Messiah, when he talks about the lion and the lamb, and he said this is all metaphors. When he comes to Messiah, it's all of a sudden he takes exactly the opposite approach. Says certain things have to be done in order to us to choose to accept a person. And that is very bizarre for the Maimonides, for Maimonides to choose that. But that's what he does. And these two things that he's mentioning, building the temple and bringing the diaspora back to Israel, that's two major things. And for that you need a physical being. And I think the main reason why he says that is because to prevent any kind of misconception. Or you build the temple or you don't. Or you bring the Jews back here, or you don't bring the Jews. And the Jews, again, I'm willing to say that it's a nation of the world. I'm not even willing to argue that point. In general, building a temple, it's very clear. Or you have it, or you don't. You have a temple, done. Don't have a temple. There's enough, as you've been around here now and talked for 2 weeks about the Messiah, there's enough crazy people around who claim from the beginning of time that they are the Messiah. We know in the time of Jesus, there were at least 8 guys who claimed that they were the Messiah. We have a book called the Rules of Generation, the Order of the Generation. He talks about 8 people named Jesus who live in the same time, more or less, giving 50, 60, 100 years here and there. You know, we played these games. That they were all claimed that they're Messiah. And if you read the New Testament, you can see the way they picked story from here, story from there, story from there. Some of the stories were our stories, clearly Jewish typical stories, and you can see the picking up and making and molding.
Yeah, your stories, I mean, whatever, how many Jesuits there were, they were supposedly Jews, all of
12.
them. 12 of them.
Yeah, at least 12.
Yeah, so it is Jewish history.
Oh, absolutely, it's Jewish history. But again, we as a people had to make decisions. Typical notion is that history, as I said before, it's up to us how to write it. It's possibility, I don't have any proof of that Jesus was a great rabbi. Possible. He had 1,000 things to say, and he was very important, and the rabbis really like him, and etc., etc. But I don't have any record of it. I don't have any, we as Jews, we don't have any record of it whatsoever. Now, so again, we've been killed, massacred, butchered, our books been burned, our history been burned.
But you have the New Testament.
The New Testament is problematic because it started very late. It's 80 years after he died. 80, 100, 120, and if I take the other Gospels, the one they keep finding now, the Thomas, the Judah, all of them, they are making a different story. If I read them, I can accept the church stories are completely bogus. I mean, was Jesus married? Was Jesus not married? Did he have children? Did he not have children? I can go on. From here to, I mean, as we know, there's a group of, I forgot the names, that do live in India, that claim Jesus came after he was crucified and redeemed from the cross.
He
and
came
to India and he had 12 kids. I can go on.
Yeah.
Stories are stories, but I think the emphasis of Messiah is really the notion that the world is going to be a better place. Listen, the last 2 weeks, we ask the typical Israelis, there's nothing good here. I mean, we've been, the students who've been kidnapped, 2 of them are our students from our school.
Yeah, I know.
So I can't tell you there's anything, if I look in that particular moment of time, I don't see anything positive. It's very hard to see beyond that. Now, if I withdraw back and I relax and I don't get too excited, I know this is just one of those things that happen in life. People have car accident, people have cancer, people die, people leave. How we do, and we will get over it. But we need tranquility. We need really a redemption. Again, we have tradition, who that person might be or might not be. But you need to show, in reality, what we do. We need to see that the world is a better place. And throughout history, if you take all the hundreds of books written about the apologetica between Jews and Christians, between Christians and Muslims, but definitely between Jews and Christians, the biggest notion was the reason Jews did not believe in Jesus as the Redeemer was because nothing good happened. The Jews were on the suffering side. Again, even if when they become, some of them did become Christian, they still suffered. I mean, the Holocaust is a perfect example.
Yeah.
People with generation 3, generation 4 generation still been killed, butchered, massacred.
But one thing, maybe we shouldn't expect one person to come and change everything. Isn't it more or less that we all carry a part of the Messiah inside of us?
Absolutely.
And that we have to do something. And instead of just sitting waiting.
Oh, no, God forbid. Don't misunderstand me. We all carry part of it. It's part of the soul of the Messiah, the internal soul of everybody. Yeah, we all have to do. The goal is to do more good. And it's starting, again, this is not a non-profit pitch, but giving charity is the first step because charity is the hardest commandment because you work hard on your money and you have to give it away to somebody else. But all these actions bring the Messiah the era, the time. But we hold, at least the way I read it, is that it's individual. It doesn't mean that the individual is the one who brings the Messiah, or the individual is the Messiah. We bring the Messiah, and when he's ready, he's revealed himself. But he has to be, in our perspective, a physical human being. If it's not a physical human being, there's no point. The redemption of heaven one can get automatically. Just go, jump from next door, and there's 5 floors in this building. You go up, you jump, you get redemption. Maybe you get to hell, but it doesn't change. You've been redeemed. You no longer have the physical, mundane problems.
No, but
you might have a whole list of other problems, but you don't have the mundane physical problems. If you die, we call it the dying on the sanctity of God. When you had the auto da fe, you have a guy who was a Maranos, put him on the auto da fe, and he said, listen, Israel, God is one, right? Shema Yisrael, Hashem Echad. We claim this line is the key for redemption. So now he's in heaven. Great. But the redemption is very limited. That redemption of heaven is very limited redemption. It's not my word. It's Nachmanides who said that. In his famous debate against Pavlo Cristiani in Aragon, he said same thing. Our belief in redemption has to be in this world. If I have redemption in another world, it doesn't help me. Because all the commandments, all the work of God is in this physical world. It's like almost cheating. Wait, I'll be redeemed there? He says that. I mean, it's funny because it should be, in a lot of synagogues, you'll be excommunicated by saying it publicly. But the notion he said is very serious. We looking for redemption and good in this world. If the world is no longer a threat, the world is perfect, what's the big deal of redemption? Redemption is that you see the change, you feel the change, that you're now part of the change. So yes, I believe 100% we need to do the progress to move forward and to make the world a better place. That's what they quoted the Maimonides, that's saying both Jesus and Muhammad brought, I'm not sure he's comparing them or make them equal, is that they make the world different. Paganism is, in the Western world at least, is no longer an option. Yeah, now you have all the crazy groups who live in Scotland and Ireland and who talk about druids and Celtic holidays, but they are small, unimportant groups. In general, we are all humanity is heading to believe in one God, one Creator. How do I practice His worship? That's between you and your God. I mean, I'm not getting interfering in this.
Thank you
Anytime.
very much.
That way, I'm 100% sure I'm not the Messiah. 100% sure.
You're sure?
100%. There's no question about it. Yeah, one incident, there's absolutely no question about it. It's not me. Just the headache of it is the DNA. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's why I really like visiting this center. Unfortunately, the rabbi himself wasn't there, but as you could see that they have an open approach, a more universal. They are not angry about Yeshua or anything. They are trying to put it in the right perspective. It's not the man, but the message, and that's exactly what we have been trying to put across. But of course, being a Christian, and that was another thing that he shares, exactly like Dalai Lama. He says, "Why are you going to be a Buddhist when you're living in Denmark or in Scandinavia? You have your own Lama. You have your own rabbi. You have Yeshua." And that's exactly the same approach they have here, and I like that. We are raised as Christians, but the funny thing, if you go to a Christian today, you can hardly talk about Jesus before they get off. So this is something for us to learn, you know. If people in Scandinavia or in other Christian countries are so estranged by just hearing the name Jesus, I think that the church have missed their opportunity. If people have to go to Buddhism or to other religions in order to know the science, the sacred science of the religion, then I think that somebody had really missed the point. That's why I think it's so important to stress that Rabbi Yeshua, or Jesus, is important, and his message is important, and it's meant for you and me. Yeshua was an avatar, like Buddha, Krishna, Lao Tzu,